Hello and thank you for joining us on CoreTV News on the hour. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. The 2015 Presidential Inauguration Planning Committee has mapped out a week-long activity to usher in the new administration on May 29th. The 27-member committee is co-chaired by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Ayim Pius Ayim, and former Bayelsa State Governor Timothy Silva, representing the All Progressives Congress. After both sides met at the presidential villa for the second time, they have come up with a list of activities that will culminate in the inauguration of President-elect Muhammadu Buhari. Basiaye reports.
It's slightly over a month to the May 29 handover date, and already there is a flurry of activities. The Joint Inauguration Planning Committee, comprising members of the outgoing and incoming administrations, have been meeting on the task ahead. They have held a second meeting and feel it's time to outline plans for the inauguration of President-elect Muhammadu Buhari. But first, they had to introduce members from both sides of the divide.
At this juncture, it might be necessary to present to you the composition of the Inauguration Committee. The members from the present administration are the Secretary to Government of the Federation, Co-Chairman, the Minister of Defense, and members are the Honorable Minister of Defense, the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, the Honorable Minister of Aviation, the Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory, and the members from the incoming administrations will be presented by my co-chair.
The members from the incoming administrations are Chief Timothy Silva, co-chair, Honorable Samson Osage, member, Chief Pius Akinyelure, member, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, member, Ms. Sharon Ikeazo, member, Professor Tony Anwuka, member, Alhaji Kawu Baraje, member, Brigadier General John Shagaya, member.
Then the committee ruled out a week-long program of activities, which is part of its mandate.
Swearing-in ceremony, lunch immediately after the swearing-in, and a gala night. We have accordingly created subcommittees to focus on each activity. The co-chairmen and members of the subcommittees may now or later take their turns to brief the public on their activities. With
both parties working in harmony, Nigerians can only hope that the handing over process will be seamless. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Many Nigerians still wonder why President Goodluck Jonathan initially planned to hand over power to the President-elect Muhammadu Buhari on May 28th as against May 29th, Democracy Day, until the volte-face by the federal government. Oluwaseyi Adegoke has details of our interaction with an activist and a lawyer on the issue in this report.
By the 28th of this month, the President intends to have the formal handing over done at a dinner, so that, we can reserve the 29th for the incoming.
This statement by the Information Minister, Patricia Akwashiki, started generating reactions as soon as it was made. Many had wondered why the event will be at a dinner on May 28th against the normal practice of a public event on the 29th of the same month. In his reaction to the issue, this activist, Debo Adeniran, feels the issue should not be blown out of proportion.
It's only the swearing-in ceremony, and the outgoing president doesn't really have any role to play than to show the symbolism that there was peaceful transition, from one regime to the other.
But according to this Lagos-based legal practitioner, handing over on the 28th will be disrespectful to the nation's norms. He called for due process to be adhered to.
On the 29th of May, the president of the country must be in that program, to hand over properly to a president-elect who becomes the president. So he cannot in any way run away on the 28th of May. That would be disrespectful even to his office.
But just as this seems to be fast becoming a major source of friction between the incoming administration and the federal government, the government made a volte-face that the Information Minister, Patricia Akwashiki, described as clarification of the 15th April briefing after the Federal Executive Council meeting.
We want to clarify that 28th of May is not the date for handover. Handover and inauguration will take place on the 29th of May.
Just as this may look laying to rest of an unnecessary distraction, the days ahead shows the pointer of what Nigerians will get from the political class. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The House of Representatives has passed the 2015 budget of 4.493 trillion naira. The figure approved is, however, 135.4 billion naira higher than the 4.3 trillion naira proposal presented to the National Assembly. The report of the budget presented by the Chairman, House Committee on Appropriation, John Eno, shows that the lawmakers appropriated 2.607 trillion naira for the recurrent expenditure, while 701 billion naira
greatly assist a great deal because we are expected to continue to spend last year's budget only up to June. And the hope is that if this budget is passed, as we are hoping to pass it today, and is quickly accepted to, it makes us avoid whatever constitutional crisis that we are going to, or get ourselves into that aspect. So I'd like to call on my colleagues to support the completion and the passage of this budget.
Service-wide growth and pensions, total allocation is 231 billion, 58 million, 104,343 naira. 354 billion, 335 million, 11,000 and 23 naira. Subtotal executive 265 billion, 202 billion, 632,115. Plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, exactly 100.
Acting Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase on Thursday met behind closed doors with President Goodluck Jonathan. It was the first time the new police ombudsman would be holding talks with President Jonathan since he formally took charge of the police force. Speaking with State House correspondents after the meeting, Arase explained that he was at the State House to brief President Jonathan on police readiness for supplementary elections in Abia, Taraba and Imo states.
We still have some elections left in some states, about 3 states, and we are doing some massive deployments of man material, and that is what I came to, brief the CNC on. And I can assure you that we are going to, have a level playing field for people who want to, vote on the election day. For the deviants, I said yesterday, will be decisively dealt with.
All Progressives Congress has urged the new Acting Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase to approach his new task with a high level of professionalism while shunning crass partisanship, which it says has dragged key national institutions of the state, especially the police, into political fray. This was contained in a statement by International Publicity Secretary Lai Mohammed. APC advised the Acting Inspector General of Police to learn from the fate that befell his predecessors, who under their watch turned the police into the enforcement arm of the ruling party, thus allowing the institution to be wantonly used to thwart the will of the people and act in ways that negated its constitutional mandate of maintaining law and order. It said irrespective of the reasons for his appointment as the acting IGP at this time, Arase must realize that it would be judged solely by the direction to which it takes the police, which the party described as one of the most abused national institutions by those who had been at the helms of affairs since the country returned to political democratic rule in 1999. The party said it did not believe the rumors making the rounds that the new acting IGP was appointed to facilitate victory for the People's Democratic Party in those supplementary elections. Meanwhile, the Police High Command has deployed one Deputy Inspector General of Police, one Assistant Inspector General, two commissioners of police to oversee elections in Abia State. In Imo State, one Assistant Inspector General of Police and three commissioners of police have been deployed, while Taraba State is to have two Assistant Inspectors General of Police and two Deputy Commissioners of Police on ground. Acting Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase has ordered restriction on vehicular movement from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in local government areas of 5 states where supplementary elections are to hold on Saturday, April 25th. The affected states are Abia, Delta, Imo, Kogi, and Taraba states. A statement issued by the police indicates that the restriction order affects movement in and out of areas where the rerun elections are to take place, except for ambulances, fire service trucks, and others on essential duties. It consequently advised travelers and citizens who intend to ply roads within those hours to make plans for alternative routes. The police authorities have also warned government officials and political office holders against going to polling units with uniformed orderlies or aides. People with no business with voting have also been advised not to move within 300 meters of a polling unit. Ahead of Saturday's supplementary election in Imo State, all security heads have met in the state capital, Owerri, to discuss plans for a hitch-free election. In attendance are D.I.G. Doma, Assistant Inspector General Olufemi Adinaike, and Brigadier Bello of the Imo Army Command, Obinze. Also in attendance are various heads of other security agencies in the state. Addressing the press, Doma said the essence of the meeting is to collaborate with each other and correct the wrongs and make sure the supplementary election is free and fairly run. He also stated that politicians are not expected from the restriction movement, are not excluded rather from the restriction of movement between the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday. A policeman attached to the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority and two other persons died on Friday morning in a crash involving a truck and a bus at Magboro along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. A police source told a correspondent that the trailer lost control at the Magboro bus stop around 5:30 a.m. and rammed into a Mitsubishi bus, killing the three occupants at the rear seat of the bus. Officers of the Mowo unit of the FRSC who arrived at the scene said the police had attended to the crash before their arrival. It's the CoreTV News on the hour. We'll take a break and return with more stories. Don't go away.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
Thank you for being there. The Director of Defense Information, Major General Chris Olukolade, says a notorious top commander of the Boko Haram group, Abu Mujahid, was among the terrorists killed in an encounter with Nigerian troops at the outskirts of Alangano. Olukolade, who claims the terrorists had staged a daring attack on troops who were on a patrol of the area, a number of terrorists died as the troops repelled the attack. He also stated that the military operations are continuing in the form of offensive action on identified terrorists in some forest locations. Olukolade further disclosed that the Boko Haram terrorists have run out of arms and ammunition. The Nigerian troops, backed by warplanes, had earlier evaded Boko Haram's last known stronghold, the Sambisa Forest, in an effort to finally root out the insurgents. A federal high court in Abuja has admitted in evidence some exhibits the prosecution claimed was used by the alleged mastermind of the 2010 Independence Day bombing, Charles Oka. The evidence include a salon car and bulletproof vests said to have been sent by Oka to one of the suspects. Trial Judge Justice Gabriel Kolawole admitted the exhibits tendered by the prosecutor after counsels to the accused made no objection. It subsequently adjourned till May 27th for defense counsels to cross-examine the prosecution witness. President Goodluck Jonathan has ordered the removal of his campaign billboards, posters and banners across the country ahead of the May 29th inauguration of the incoming administration. This, he says, is because the 2015 presidential elections has since been concluded and a new president is set to be inaugurated. Presidential spokesman Ruben Abati said in a statement that the president has directed that the PDP Presidential Campaign Organization and the Jonathan Sambo Support Group should immediately begin the process of removing the campaign materials which still adorn the landscape in major cities across the country. He added that now that elections are over, except for reruns in a few states, President Jonathan wants Nigerians to put recent political campaigns behind them and join hands with the incoming administration for a more united, peaceful and stable nation. Legal practitioners with expertise in electoral law have charged all aggrieved parties from the just concluded election to patronize the path of law, as the judiciary is more than prepared to take all the election petitions and do justice. As the practitioners prepare for tribunal process in their various courtrooms, they say it is imperative for Nigerians to have faith in the system while rating the Nigerian judicial system as one of the best in the world. Omotayalo has details.
While the winners of the 2015 elections continue to savor their victory, and those who still have supplementary elections to face wait. For the losers, the game is still not over, especially those who are dissatisfied with the outcome. Against the predictions of the Independent Electoral Commission to achieve a faultless process, the failure of the card readers, which gave rise to the use of incident firms, have been for these legal practitioners the major subject of petitions by parties and candidates who have questioned the credibility of accreditation and voting exercise where the card readers failed.
It does seem as if there's going to be plethora of election litigations in all the tribunals all over the country. That's the picture we are getting at the moment. Virtually in all the chambers now, lawyers are very busy. It's a busy time for lawyers. They are preparing election petitions and they are filing.
We had a lot of complaints on the card reader. So with this now, it boils out to the fact that there could be some manipulations, there could be some human errors, and so on and so forth. And for that reason, all these have to be tested in court.
For these legal practitioners, it would be suicidal for one to lose faith in the judicial system, as it is in the best position to legally retrieve a stolen mandate.
We should all have to exercise some patience, because very soon all will be well.
The court remains the bastion, the last hope for not only for the masses, even for the big men in this country.
Though the date for swearing in of the newly elected leaders is fast approaching, the complainants who have made their petitions to the election tribunal say they would not lose hope until justice is done. Omotayalo, CoreTV News, Ibadan.
Nigeria Labour Congress held its state delegates conference on Thursday in Kaduna with over 5,000 Labour activists in attendance. The event, which was held simultaneously across the country, is to pave way for the emergence of new leadership at state level. It also provided an opportunity for the NLC to threaten action against states with outstanding wages and pension arrears. Amina Nebi has the rest of the story in this report presented from our studio.
The Gamji Gate venue of NLC's 11th State Delegates Conference was well decorated ahead of the event, but not many of the delegates showed up. This, however, didn't stop the labor movement from threatening action against state governments which are owing workers and pension arrears. NLC President Ayuba Waba was represented by Maureen Omjia.
We are looking at a government that the change will touch all the economical sectors of our country. That's what we are looking at. We are looking at a government that will take on board the aspiration of Nigerian workers, pay them what is due for them, give them good salary, living wage.
The delegates who expressed satisfaction over the turnout of events are hopeful of successful outing.
The turnout of delegates is outstanding. I think we expected to have this. That's to tell you that we have one indivisible Nigeria Labour Congress Kaduna State Council. So I'm happy workers are called and they turn up.
We are very happy that the NLC is conducting its 11th Delegates Conference. in consonance with the provision of their constitution. So we are very happy. We enjoyed working with the last leadership.
Well, I feel great that today is the day that we're going to elect our new leader, the leader of NLC here in Kaduna State. This is the 4th delegate conference that we're going to hold in Kaduna State, and we hope that those that are going to be elected today will lead us and guide us into the right path.
Not many of the dignitaries expected at the opening of the conference turned up, but this did not dampen the enthusiasm of the labor activists. Delegates at the Kaduna NLC conference are only to choose a new auditor and ex-officio member, as all occupants of other positions were returned unopposed.
2 parallel delegates conference of the Nigeria Labour Congress were held in Kano State as a result of the lingering leadership crisis. The conference held at the Kano Indoor Sports Hall had 31 out of 33 trade unions affiliated to the NLC in attendance. Outgoing State Chairman Issa Dangugua insisted that there are no factions in the labour movement in Kano.
As you are all aware, today, Thursday, the 23rd April 2015, is the day that will mark the end of our tenure as the incumbent administrative council members of the Congress, having served for 4 years. And at the same time, it is the day that will favor a way for the emergence of new leaders.
We take yet another break and return with a story from outside Nigeria.
One continent, 54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united in similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on CoreTV News.
European Union leaders gathering for an extraordinary summit are facing calls from all sides to take emergency action to save lives in the Mediterranean, where hundreds of migrants are missing and feared to drown in recent days. The leaders will examine a plan to respond to the crisis after more than 10,000 migrants were plucked from seas between Italy and Libya in a week and are widely expected to approve swift action. EU President Donald Tusk urged the leaders from the 28 nations to agree on very practical measures, including strengthening search and rescue possibilities by fighting the smugglers and by discouraging their victims from putting their lives at risk, while reinforcing solidarity. EU officials say that leaders will commit to doubling the size of the European Border Agency. And that's it on the news for this hour. Join us again top of the hour for more. Thank you for watching. I am Ebulomo Adekunle.